This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hello and welcome to episode 144 of the Steve and Crypto Show, presented by thestevestrout.com.
I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. Thank you all for listening. We are actually in the top 5 of the Good Pods episodes, the Good Pods podcasts. And we're really thankful for all of you that have been listening to help us get to that mark. So it's kind of cool for a couple of nobodies in the podcast pond.
Well, yeah, I guess we are kind of nobody. I was almost going to correct you there and be like, who's a nobody? But no, you're right. We're nobody. But a lot of people don't think we're nobody. And you're really making us feel like somebody by supporting our show. All your support on social media by sharing and liking all our posts about the show over on Twitter and Instagram, where we can both be found. He's CryptoZoo88. I am the Steve Strout. And then we also had that Facebook group where you guys have been participating and sharing cool stuff, sharing your work, your movies, your books, whatever you're doing. Keep on sharing it over there. We love seeing it. And I mean, we've even found a few guests through that. So keep up. And we want to have you on our show as long as you're cool and got cool shit. But you probably do. If you listen to us, you're cool. Other good ways to promote and support us are by joining our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/SteveCrypto. Go there and we kind of bring you into our personal lives a little bit. We like to share some of our interests outside of just horror movies and nerdy shit. We share, Crypto shares some family outings, concerts and stuff. I've talked about games. We've gone on there, and one of our favorite things to do there is to spoil and ruin movies for you guys. Because why not, right? Like, go spend your hard-earned money to go watch a movie at the theater, overpriced, of course, and then let us ruin it for you.
Or just save your money and
save
just let
your
us
money
ruin the movie.
Save your money, and you can pledge it to us on Patreon.
You don't need to find out what happens. We'll tell you ourselves. You don't need to really see it.
There you go.
We'll paint the picture for you. It's beautiful. You just got to join Patreon. You'll find out.
You can do it for as little as $1 a month. So pay $1 and hear how shitty the movie was, or pay $15 a person and have to sit through 2 hours when we could ruin it for you in 20 minutes. Anyways, yeah, patreon.com/SteveCrypto. But if you do decide to go to the movie, which I'm kidding, I love going to the theater and I encourage it. Especially if you got like a little indie theater in your town. Go support them, keep them alive. But when you do go, wear a Steve and Crypto Show shirt. You can get those on Etsy. Just go search Steve and Crypto merch and you'll get a page full of t-shirts, mugs, tote bags, coasters, magnets. Did I say mugs? I think I said mugs. T-shirts again, because there's a couple different ones, so I might as well say it twice.
That's right. Yep, they're so
Anything else
nice. You
on
got to
there?
say it twice.
Oh, there's a hoodie too.
That's
Get a
right.
hoodie.
Yeah, there's a hoodie. Yeah, there's a few new items on there. But I think everything on there is fairly new to a lot of you guys that are listening. So I would just go to Etsy, look up the Steve and Crypto Show. You'll find everything there is available and pick something up. Take a picture when you get it. Let us see what you got.
And everything that comes in through the shop, through Patreon, through our Buy Me a Coffee. Um, all the proceeds that come in go back into this show, making it better, improving gear, putting new merch out, getting us to shows, events. We've been getting invited to a lot of events, which you'll hear about one here a little bit later in this episode. A very exciting one that we're hyped about.
Yeah.
That's enough about us. Why don't you tell them about our friends at the Deluxe Edition Network?
All right. So we have a bunch of friends in what we call the Den, the Deluxe Edition Network. So you can go to deluxeeditionnetwork.com and check out a variety of shows over there. There's probably 20, 30 podcasts so you can check out sports shows, comedy, horror, drama, murder mysteries, all sorts of things. There's definitely something for you there. Go check them out. I highly suggest you check out the podcasts of the month. So for May, the podcasts of the month are Barrel Aged Chicks and Barstool Film School, which is actually another show that is based in Port Townsend, like us, um, and somebody that you listeners may know might be on that show real soon.
When do we know when that episode is going to air yet?
No idea when it's going to air. They just released their episode for Highlander 2 because this season they're talking about sequels from particular films or from certain franchises. So they talked about Jaws 2 a while ago. Highlander 2 just came out today. The next one is going to be on the horror side. You know, I'm just going to say motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. That's all I'm going to say for now.
You might as well just say, hey, I'm going to be on the show.
So I'm going to be on Barstool Film School real soon. We talked about a movie. I'm just not going to tell you what it is, but I gave you a clue already. So keep an eye out and make sure you listen to their show and check out Barrel Aged Chicks as well.
You won't hear me on that episode because I was busy recovering from Crypticon, which we are going to be kind of recapping in this episode. And the way we're going to do it, though, is we're going to feature some vendors or creators or something that were featured at the show. These are people, they're not just exclusive to the Northwest. You could find their work everywhere.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could support them from everywhere in the world. They're super talented people, cool people. There's always the celebrities and stuff at these kind of conventions, which are like the focal point, and we all know who they are. Like our last episode, we talked to one of the celebrity guests. We talked to Zach Galligan from Gremlins.
That's right. If you haven't listened to it yet, go back and check it out.
Back in the episode prior, we talked to some of the filmmakers that were featured in the Crypticon Film Festival. So, like, Crypticon is obviously our big local horror con. Crypticon Seattle, that is. There's multiple Crypticon events around the country, but ours is Crypticon Seattle. And we put a lot of effort and time into promoting that event because we love it. It's our hometown event. It's a great event. It's like a reunion for us every year to see all our old nerdy horror nerd friends.
Yeah. I kind of wish it was like a once a month thing, you know, because like
that would
Monday
get
morning,
expensive.
it would get expensive, but Monday morning I was just kind of sad. I'm like, man, I don't want to go back to work. I just want to go
That's
back
every
to the
Monday,
Double
but
Tree.
I feel like that's every Monday though, but
That's true. Yeah. But I just wanted to go back. It's a wonderful event for any of you guys listening that haven't checked it out yet. Highly suggest it.
I'll add
So
to my bank account.
yeah. Um but yeah, I mean if you don't already know, it's every May. In the past they did it like the third weekend in May, but this year it was the first weekend. So just be prepared, get your wallet ready for May. Crypticon, Seattle.
On Seattle. Before we dig into our guest and talk a little more about Crypticon Seattle, there's been some interesting news happening. lately. It was kind of quiet for a while in the horror news,
Yeah.
and then just like these kind of interesting things came up over the past week. Uh, one being Mike Flanagan taking over directing the Exorcist, the Blumhouse Exorcist movies. Like if you know Mike Flanagan, recently, what did he do? He did the Haunting of Hill House series, which was pretty popular. The Fall of the House of Usher, which was really good. He directed some of that. He directed Doctor Sleep, the uh the kind of lame follow up to The Shining, and he's done all kinds of cool stuff. He did that Ouija movie back in the day, Oculus, just a ton of uh decent horror movies. So I feel like he might be a good guy to take over this franchise. What do you think? Think he got
Um,
the chops to make it work?
I think so. Um, I mean, it seems like he has some background in like supernatural horror, that kind of thing. I mean, we all know there's like many different subgenres in horror, but it sounds like he specializes in that. So
Yeah.
kind of gives me a little bit of faith. I mean, I didn't have doubts with the Exorcist movie until I watched the Halloween films, and then I found out the same guy was doing that, and I wasn't I wasn't entirely happy with the last Halloween movie.
Right.
It's kind of weird at times, pros and cons to
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
so just when you what's an example for this? Like M. Night Shyamalan. If I hear that he's doing something right away, I'm turned away. I'm turned
Yeah.
off. I'm like, I don't expect it to be very good. Um, just my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of how I'm starting to feel about this one. It's like, well, I
But
saw what he did with Halloween or with David Gordon Green. Um,
right.
and so I wasn't real crazy about The Exorcist. I watched it. It was boring as hell.
Yeah, it
Um,
wasn't that great.
but hopefully it can be saved.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head though when you said that Flanagan has experience putting out
Yes.
like kind of supernatural films, which The Exorcist and possession and stuff is basically supernatural nonsense. So I think he is a good guy to do it, and I'm glad they didn't just say, just so I can give it to anybody at this point. First movie sucked. People aren't going to
Yeah.
care about the new one.
Yeah.
They gave it to somebody who does have that history of putting out solid, you know, supernatural based films. So
Yeah.
I think it'll keep kind of a little interest in it, and they couldn't just shelve it because they invested so much for the rights to the fucking franchise.
And in the
It's
beginning, they
like,
said there were going to be 3 movies made.
yeah, and the money they dumped into it is like you have to make it. Like you don't invest hundreds of millions of dollars to just throw it away. Like
Oh,
just
yeah.
shelf it.
Well, and a good chunk of that money went to what's her name? Um, oh shit, I'm drawing a blank on her name. The actress that came back. Um, it was in
Older
the original.
actress,
Yeah, I wish I could
right?
think of her name right now, but um, I heard that she turned them down like many times and just didn't want to do it. And then they probably put a little pile of money in
Well,
her front yard, and
I,
she was
I
like, "All
don't
right, fine."
I don't think it was that much of the budget, but it was enough to like to grab some attention there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get her attention. Now I'm trying to think, what the fuck is her name? Like, why do you gotta do this to me?
I'm
Like my
sorry.
head hurt. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. And like she was like barely in it. Like if you're gonna bring back
Oh
somebody,
yeah.
have her a bigger part of the movie.
Yep.
Ellen Burstyn.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
But
glad I didn't even
anyways,
try to say a name because I had a name in my head and it definitely wasn't that.
it's like Ellen DeGeneres. Like,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
but
He was
yeah. So
dancing. Her and the possessed girls, they were just dancing around a lot.
I think Mike Flanagan's the right guy. I'm glad, though they couldn't, it would be a huge loss of investment if they shelved it. So I'm glad to see it keep going. Hopefully they make it a little better in the last one. Uh,
Yeah.
but mentioning shelving things,
Yeah. Speaking of that, there's some Crystal Lake news if you guys aren't already hip to what's going on. So
there
a
is no news.
yeah, well, there was some, and now there's hardly any news for it. So A24 was working on a series for Friday the 13th called Crystal Lake. Um, and it seems like they just pulled the plug on it. Uh, Depending on the article, it's kind of mixed. But this is coming from Bloody Disgusting, so I want to say it's a good source. So a couple nights ago, um, I guess they pulled the plug on it. It was due to begin filming sometime this year. Jeff Snyder wrote in last night's exclusive report with the Insider that it's unclear what's going to happen with the project right now. A24 is just not speaking up about it. They've confirmed the show's still happening, but there's some retooling of the project going on behind the scenes. Um, I wish I had more information for you right now, but that's about it. It just says stay tuned. So they hope to get something going. I mean, this was brought up back in 2022, and it's just taken a long time. The rights with Friday the 13th have just been so fucked over the years. We should have had a new movie a long time ago. I don't think we've had a film since 2009, and I actually like that one, the remake
I
that
was
they did.
excited. I was excited for this series. Like
Yeah.
Brian Fuller was producing, and like Brian Fuller's the man, dude. He's done some cool shit. But yeah,
Um,
I don't know why. Like last I heard it, weren't they like filming it? Didn't they start filming not
Not
that long
according
ago?
to this, but there is some more interesting info about it, even though it's kind of just in limbo right now. Um, so Peacock had given the project a straight to series order, as I said, in 2022, being described as an expanded prequel to the original, and it was
Right.
going to feature both Jason Voorhees and his mother Pamela. Also, the final girl, Adrienne King, had even signed on for a recurring role. So we'll see if that still happens, or she could drop out, or something could be changed. Brian Fuller was to serve as a writer, showrunner, and executive producer, with Victor Miller, who actually is behind the original classic, producing it with Mark Toberoff and Rob Barsamian as part of A24. Even Kevin Williamson, who is the writer of Scream, the original, and Sick, which I really liked, was on board to write an episode. Probably the premiere, I would assume, because they'll often just have like a big name to write like the first episode, and then after that, it's just kind of off to the races. But you'll notice in a lot of shows that come out, like the first episode is usually bigger, or they'll bring in some big name to produce it to get your attention. Produced by John Carpenter or whatever, and then you look and it's really only one episode produced by him. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what
we'll have
happens
to
with
just
this.
watch and see. Like, may hopefully they're just like retooling, like you say, and to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
But because it's like there's already investments in this, so it's like, what the fuck?
And they probably had to fight for the rights hard too, I imagine.
Give us a damn Friday the 13th show or movie soon.
Yeah. Yeah. The last one, the one and only Jason film that I've seen in theaters was the 2009 film. And honestly, I kind of like that one more than some of the original films.
It had a little more after the first Friday the 13th. That one was probably the more serious film.
Yeah.
A lot of the ones after that got a little campy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'd put the remake in my top 10 horror remakes.
Probably up there. Probably up there.
Yeah.
Another kind of interesting news happened. I know there was a ton of new cast members added to the Wednesday series.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether we want to call that horror or not.
Yeah. Steve Buscemi was added to the cast,
He was.
and I've always been a fan of that dude. I think even if a movie is bad, usually his part is all right. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with him.
There's gonna be a bunch of other people like Billy Piper, who was on Doctor Who back in the day. Haley Joel
Oh,
Osment.
really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I haven't seen
Yeah.
him in a movie since
Christopher
Tusk.
Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd was announced.
So that is confirmed. Okay, cool.
According to Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah. I saw an image yesterday that said something about him joining the cast, but I just wasn't sure if I believed it or not.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first season, so I'm looking forward to two.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Apparently there's a spin-off in the works about Fred Armisen as Uncle Fester.
Oh. Well, isn't that going to be kind of awkward if Christopher Lloyd's coming in? I mean, isn't he going to be Fester?
Maybe not. He's probably just going to be a character.
Oh.
That's like Christina Ricci was not Wednesday. She was just another character.
True. Yeah.
Fred Armisen is Uncle Fester. Christopher Lloyd right now is too old to be, unless they like time travel into the future. But I don't think it's going to happen. It'll
Yeah.
probably just be some crotchety old man character.
Right. The Crow film is supposed to be coming out soon, I believe. Kind of have mixed feelings about it myself.
After seeing pictures, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll watch it when it's streaming somewhere or when we can rent it for $5 at home.
We'll find some way to watch it. I did want to mention one more thing about Wednesday. Literally, like the day after I left Crypticon in Seattle, one of the guests, Heather Matarazzo, was announced as a cast member as well, which I thought was cool. Like that would have been huge if she was able to announce it there.
Yeah,
I would have definitely put more effort to try to get her on the show.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty cool.
Anyways, you had more thoughts on The Crow?
I don't have more thoughts on
What is
The
that?
Crow.
I might watch it. The Crow's
that's
coming.
about it. Yeah, it's coming. I don't know when. I was about to look that up, but neither one of us really sounded too excited about it, so I decided not to.
Yeah. After I'll just watch the old one again.
Yeah, for you guys listening, The Crow, it's coming.
Yeah, The Crow has been here for years. Just
go watch the original.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure I'll watch it. What do you think of the trailer for that tarot movie?
Oh,
what's on that? Like, I'm kind of intrigued by it.
Yeah, I bumped into somebody the other day getting my kid from school that said they ended up watching it and they thought it was okay. I don't know. I'll try to watch it at some point with an open mind. I haven't been impressed with some of the newer horror films, like the big ones that they hype up that come out to theaters that seem to be really pushed on social media. I watch them and then I'm just not into them that much.
Right.
But like I can think of a couple. I mean, Sick, I mentioned that one, and then Deadstream, two movies that did not go to theaters that were just streaming films that I loved and will buy them one day. Just a rough example, but I'm just saying I'll watch it. Probably won't go to the theater, but I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah, that's one I'll definitely stream. What's cool is they had a $8.25 million budget.
Yeah,
and it's already past the budget.
Yeah, I heard
that's pretty good. That's
very well.
Things like that is a good sign for horror movies.
Yeah. And I mentioned the social media thing. One reason being is because I heard that they didn't bother spending money on any like television
Marketing
spots or
and
anything
stuff,
like that. Yeah, they only did the marketing on TikTok and Instagram and that kind of thing because they're trying to market to that crowd. But I mean, to me, you should want everybody to see it, not just like the young TikTok kids.
But I mean, if you look, I mean, really though, the young TikTok kids kind of rule media right now. You know what I mean? Like people go to TikTok for entertainment. They go there for news. They go there for like everything now. It's kind of crazy. God forbid you have to take your information in more than 60 seconds.
Yeah. Oh man, how dare you have an attention span?
Way too long. Yeah.
Yeah. We used to watch the news for like an hour. No, I haven't. It's hard for me to watch horror movies, man. I just like I mean, like time. Yeah, they're very
time.
scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scary.
No, the timing. Like I finally get the time to watch horror movies that the wife might not want to watch with me, and then I fall asleep. We did watch, this isn't horror, but we did watch the roast of Tom Brady last night, which I
It's
know
kind of
some other
horror.
podcasts have been talking about.
I heard Netflix edited it
Oh, they
because
did.
whatchamacallit, what the fuck's her name?
Kardashian.
Kardashian came out and they like booed the shit out of her. So they
Oh, they
edited
did.
that out and tried to make her look cool. Which I
Yeah.
think is
So
hilarious. They should have left it in there.
we didn't watch it live, of course. We watched the edited version. You can still hear some booze in there.
Did they show it live
It
initially?
was live, yeah. Yeah, Netflix is doing a lot of live stuff now.
Yeah, that's I guess they're getting ready for the Tyson fight. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't even follow
Definitely not
boxing, but
horror,
I'll
but
probably watch that.
I want to watch Mike Tyson beat the shit out of that kid.
Yep. Yep.
To be
I want to
honest,
watch the old fart beat the young punk, bite his ear off.
you want to watch that? Come hang out at my job long enough because I'm gonna snap on somebody. For real.
Well, they should pay you a couple $1 million to do that.
You know, I fucking like what you're
I would watch
like
that.
what you're saying here.
Yeah. Can you
I
imagine that?
smell
Like a
what you're
fight
cooking. I'm
inside
digging
of a
it.
subway
Yeah.
and you're just like hitting them with the bread and, shove somebody's face in the marinara. I can see it.
I would just fucking choke him.
I'd buy a ticket to that.
All right, well, here, give me $25 and I'll slap.
And you'll let me stand there while you slap someone, throw meatballs at them.
Sounds like a deal.
Back to the news for a minute. And I don't have much else to say, but Chucky season 3.
Better not say The Crow again. Okay.
No,
Chucky.
no.
That's cool.
Chucky season 3 has come and gone. The last 4 episodes that they aired were pretty quick and pretty weird.
I haven't even started it yet. I'm still on season 2.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say too much then for you, but
oh, go ahead. Say it. People have watched it. Who'd they add?
They added ghosts into this last half of the show, like ghosts inside the White House. And I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm being picky, but I was like, can we just have Chucky be the monster in this show? Like, that's all I want. I don't want ghosts. I don't want anything else.
Were the ghost monsters? Were they bad?
Well, no, but I mean, like, they added to the creepy factor. You would see like people that were killed in the White House, and like somebody was strangled with I think Chucky put the flag around their face or something and suffocated them. And so then later,
like ghosts of Chucky's victims.
Yes. So
okay.
and more,
cool,
more than just that I won't tell you. It's not just Chucky's victims. There's other people there too, but all people that have died inside the White House. And so one of them that he killed shows up in ghost form, and it's like it kind of flies into that the flag that they were choked with, and you see like the face as they're kind of moving around. You see the form of the face.
So they just want to do some fancy effects tricks.
Yeah, they did that while Chucky was being old and hanging out and not able to be as active, I guess. But I just didn't like that direction. I just thought it was stupid. Like, you don't have to be that wacky. We already got a talking doll. Let's just stick with that.
Only thing I know about the recent Chucky stuff was like saw a picture of like one of the kids like kissing with the Chucky doll.
Yeah, there's
is that
that.
like a real thing, or is that something somebody made?
No, it happened for a second. Yeah. And I mean,
people have been fucking dolls for years, I guess. So whatever. You could go to the store right now and buy a doll you could fuck. But
name it Tiffany, Chucky, whatever you want.
Yeah, you can call it whatever the hell you want. You could name it Caleb and fuck yourself. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you want.
But yeah, there's just some shit in the tail end half of this season that I thought was a little much.
Sounded a little let down.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna do a season 4 or not. There's a phone number going around. You sent it to me where you can call and kind of tell them, I guess, that you want season 4 or something. I don't know. I haven't called.
There was one before, like you text it and like then Chucky texts you talking shit to you, like,
He'd be like, "Watch Chucky, fuck you."
Chucky, motherfucker. Like, just, yeah, I think we talked about that before, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Chucky.
So yeah, there were just things that I was kind of hoping for. There's the last episode. I will say there is one part that is very, very cool that I don't really want to spoil for you.
Just spoil it. What
Okay,
happens?
all right. So,
It'll take me a few years to watch it, so it's
so
beyond the spoiler. I don't know what word to use.
the main kid,
There's
Jake,
there's a okay.
he
Which one's that? Is that the curly haired boy?
yeah, that one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Jake, basically like, so Chucky's dead, and
Again?
he's like, he goes into the spirit world. Like they find out you can be dead for up to 7 minutes, 7 minutes in heaven, and then you can be brought back. And so
We
they,
used to play a game called 7 Minutes in Heaven back in the day.
yeah, that's why I said
It
it.
had nothing to do with dying, though.
Yeah. So he goes to the
It had a
spirit
lot to do
world.
with like blue balls and stuff like that. But anyways,
There's a bunch, there's like every version of Chucky there in the spirit world, like Fiona's there playing the young version. There's the current one, and so on and so on. And there's good Chucky, and he's talking to good Chucky, and then basically he finds out that he's been tricked and there is no good Chucky. And basically they all tell him, they're like, we just needed to get you in here in the spirit world and out of your body long enough so that Chucky could take it. And he did. And then you get to hear Jake do, or the actor Zachary, I think his name is, do his own impression of Chucky. And he's pretty good. It's pretty spot on. So he comes back, and like there's a dude, the guy that kind of helped him get into the spirit world, goes into an elevator with him, and all of a sudden, like he just flips and starts like kicking the dude in the head and kills him. And and it's a cool idea. And like the White House is on fire at one point, and he's walking away with this evil smile and everything. Like, oh, this is getting really good. They should have ended the season with that. Like, Jake's possessed. See you later. We'll see what happens. And then that really would have left you like, oh God, I gotta watch the next season. I gotta know what happens with that. But of course, they, in the same episode, bring him back. They find a way to bring him back to life, or out of the spirit world. And
they could have wrote a whole season about that fight to get Jake back.
I know. That would have been great.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
it was
even
a really good idea. That was like the best part of this season, in my opinion, was Jake being taken over. The main kid is now Chucky. But so they switch him back, and Caroline is with the creator of the Good Guy dolls, who is John Waters, and he was in Seed of Chucky too. So it's kind of cool to see him back. But anyway, so they kind of imply that Caroline's been messing around with Damballa and learning spells and things like that. She gets out the Voodoo for Dummies book, does the chant, and then the next time that you see Jake, Devin, and her sister Lexi, they all look like a couple of like little marionette dolls, almost like Woody in kind of a similar outfit, like Woody from Toy Story or whatever, with little cowboy hats and shit. And it looks cheesy and tacky. Now the season's left like that. They're dolls, and that part's kind of cool, but they should have been like good guy dolls. You know what I mean? If the next clip you saw was them in like a good guy doll form, that would have been a little bit cooler. You'll know what I mean once you actually see it.
Maybe they're trying to just like expand on the doll universe, because like all these like other recent movies that got popular kind of jumped on the crazy doll bandwagon.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, fuck it. Let's just latch on to the Toy Story doll before somebody else does, and this doll and that doll. And I don't know. But this is a good chance to to segue into something with Crypticon.
Yeah.
Did they bring back Alex Vincent?
No.
They did not.
No.
Well, that's Interesting. Well, he's not. They didn't bring him back there, but our next guest is bringing him to the Halloween Expo in
And that,
October.
my friends, is what you call a great segue.
That's how it's done, son. But yeah, at Crypticon, we ran into a lot of cool people, which definitely we're gonna shout out some of the cool people we ran into
Yeah.
after. But I'm gonna jump right in and introduce you to my friend Nathan OBrien. He's been running the Lilac City Comic Con out in Spokane, Washington for years now. He's over 10 years. I know he said how many years in this interview, but my brain didn't allow me to remember the number. But I know it was like 10 or 12 years at least.
Yeah.
He'd been doing it a while, and he grew from a tiny, venue with a dozen tables to hundreds of tables in a big convention center, and he started a new convention a couple years ago, branching off of that, called the Halloween Expo, which is basically like I said, it's a Halloween Expo. It's lots of Halloween crafters and artists and themed creators and stuff. And there's horror stuff. And, if you're a big horror fan, he has some great guests coming for it. So you can meet some horror celebrities. Or if you're just a seasonal Halloween lover, you want to go buy some cool decorations and stuff, this is also a good show for you. Like I said, Nathan OBrien, I chatted with him a little bit at Crypticon, and I think I should just jump into it and let him introduce himself and tell you about what he does. So meet Nathan OBrien, and pay close attention for a exciting special announcement about the Stephen Crypto Show. I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Doug Jones, the tall, skinny, goofy actor who plays lots of monsters and creatures on film and in TV. But today, I want you to know that you are listening to the best podcast on the air, and that would be the Steve and Crypto Show.
All right, Steve and Crypto listeners, we are hanging out at Crypticon, doing that thing that we do. I'm here chatting with Nathan OBrien. He is the man behind a couple really great conventions here in the Northwest, like fast-growing conventions. Late spring, he has the Lilac City Comic Con, which is one of the larger conventions here in the Northwest, which we'll have him tell us a little about that. And one I'm extra excited for is the Halloween Expo, which takes place October 5th and 6th in Spokane, Washington. And he's some of the guests he has coming with me, which we'll touch on here in a second, but it's got me pretty hyped to be part of it and be there. Before we dig in, who are you?
Hey, how's it going? Nathan.
Yeah, I'm Nathan. That's it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really honored that you reached out to me. All your accolades and nominations that you would make time for me.
Accolades, I like that. I'm kind of a big deal,
I see that.
I wish. But yeah, like we've been, acquainted for years on social media through the whole convention scene, and we finally
run in a lot of similar circles.
Yeah. But we never crossed paths until
It's
today's
time.
the day. Yeah, we've chatted, but this is it.
The seas have parted.
The seas have parted. All the awesome comes together, taking over the world or something.
That's right.
At least this podcast.
Without the podcast, we there would be no documentation that we had this interaction.
Yeah, nobody would believe it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, what's your background, man? How did you get started doing these conventions?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Whidbey Island up north of Seattle. Grew up there, and with my buddies, used to go into shows in the Seattle area, big and small, all different shapes and sizes. Back in the day, for you hardcore listeners, the minor cons at the Seattle Center. You cut my teeth going there. And when I moved over to Spokane in 2006, I think I had like a reaction that I think almost anybody would if you move to a new town. It's like, what are the comic book shops? What are the theaters? What are the arcades? And what kind of shows do we have going on? And I really couldn't find anything online. Now granted, 2006, the internet isn't what it is today. But I just couldn't find anything. So I went to the local comic book shop, introduced myself, and I'd be like, did I miss it? By this time it was like late summer. I'm like, did I miss the show maybe? That's why I can't find anything. And the owner starts laughing at me. And I'm like, well, what's so funny, you know? And he's like, well, we haven't had a show in like probably 13 years in Spokane.
Wow.
And so that really blew my mind.
Right.
So I'm like, I remember calling my buddy who I go to shows with, and I tell him what I just learned. And I'm like, I'm going to start a show. And he goes, do you even know how to put on a show? And I'm like, no, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
So I started doing my own research, getting connected with a lot of other, con runners, people that I'm still in touch with to this day that really kind of set me on a good path.
Con runner sounds like criminal activity or something. It's a con
Don't worry about
running
it. Don't
con.
worry about it.
Like,
It's
we
a
don't
technicality.
talk about this, but
It's totally different than con man, you know? Yeah.
True.
And so, I just started figuring it out. And so our first show in 2007, we had about 18 exhibitors and 300 attendees, so not much to speak of, but given that it was a first year show with very insane small budget, it was all I could do to scrape together enough money for 2 plane tickets and 2 hotel rooms for our 2 guests. And but after that first show, I sat down and did a pros and cons list, and I had a list a mile long of things that I knew I could do better, things that like hadn't even crossed my mind. But after I went through that experience, I knew I could do it better. And so I've always strived to make the shows ever evolving, always growing, never resting on our laurels, while making sure that it's fun, affordable for the community, but also highlighting local businesses, local artists that are doing their thing and grinding, all year round. I'm just trying to give them a platform to showcase what they do, 1 weekend a year.
So you probably every year you learn something new for each con.
Always. Yeah, and as the show continued to grow, with the show floor, attendees, guests, we were constantly on the hunt for the next venue that we could host it in to keep up with the positive growth. So, with me saying, 18 vendors and 300 people, it doesn't sound like much, but then next year it was 25 and it was 450, then it was 50, and then it was 500, so it just kept going. So when it finally reached a number that I had in my head, I knew it was time to then take the plunge and go over to the convention center, which is not cheap. And, places like that aren't cheap, otherwise everyone would rent from there.
Yep.
But I felt like we needed to have a certain amount of attendees, a certain amount of growth to keep up with that demand. And when we went there in 2014, our attendance doubled overnight from 2,000 to 4,000 in 1 year. And so it just continued to grow since then.
What do you think was like the catalyst of that doubling the attendance? Like what?
I think for a lot of people, whether they were new to our show or had been coming to it since the beginning, I think going to the convention center kind of legitimized it.
Right.
Rather than going from a wedding banquet hall to a meeting rooms in a community college to now being downtown at a convention center.
This is a real deal.
This is legit.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, what do you got happening at the Lilac City Show? When's the date, and who do you got coming?
Yeah, so our 18th annual show is coming up June 1st and 2nd over in Spokane, and we occupy 85,000 square feet at the convention center floor. We have over 315 exhibitors, and last year we had over 10,000 people in attendance.
Wow. That's awesome. And you got some guests coming?
Yeah. So, I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so I'm always trying to get some Star Wars people to come over the years.
I would have never guessed by the
Right.
jacket.
Yeah, no, I saw your tattoo. I'll show you my tattoo. But audience got paid for that. Yeah. So we have Emily Swallow, who plays the armor on The Mandalorian. We've been talking with her for a while. So
I've seen her videos of her interacting at other shows, and she seems like she's a really cool, fun guest. So I think people will dig that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of getting to know some other people from the cast, and she's become highly regarded and very professional, and just loves meeting fans. And that's where we've gotten so lucky over the years with the guests that we bring in, is that they're just regular people that happen to be in this great position of a career, but then also love to interact and meet the fans.
Yep.
And that's what makes it special. Let's see here. We got for anime fans, we have voice actress Erica Schroeder. Did Laufey in the animated One Piece. Also in a whole bunch of different characters in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Sonic. She's like one of the hardest working voice actors in the industry, and we had to book her almost a year out because she's so busy.
Right.
Super excited for her. And then one guy that I was really flattered, he reached out to me. His name is Demetrius Bistreski, and so he may not be a household name, but his character that he played in the Obi-Wan Disney Plus series is well known, and that's Darth Vader.
Oh.
And so he, as an added bonus, he's a Spokane native.
Oh, wow.
Who started off and grew up in Spokane, did a lot of gymnastics and plays and performances, and before he moved down to California, and then now as a professional stuntman. And so there was, I think, 3 different people that plays Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan series. One is Hayden Christensen. Yep. So every time you see hear the voice or you see the close-up of his face, it's him. But, no offense, but he's short. So he's not very menacing when it comes to wearing the full suit. There's another gentleman that did like all the sword fighting, like with the lightsabers. But Demetrius also is a trained swordsman as well too. So when he comes to the show, he's going to do a lightsaber demonstration, which is really cool. But then every time you see Darth Vader, full body, full shots, walking, choking, doing his thing, that's him because he's 6'7".
Wow.
So he's a big guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we're very excited to have him.
And he has local roots, and it's
added bonus
that's
right there.
pretty neat.
Yeah, so he was like, I want to come back. I want to give back to where I grew up. And we're like, that's amazing.
So I probably got you a good deal on booking him, too. So.
Yes.
You come home and visit Grandma and sign some autographs.
Yeah.
That works.
Oh, yeah, he's got lots of family and
cool,
friends, for sure.
That's really cool. Then, of course, a ton of great local artists and a couple known guys you got coming.
We got Sam De La Rosa, Marvel Comics, worked real famously on the Venom Lethal Enforcer series from the 90s, and that was the inspiration for the Venom movies. He was, I think, even as a consultant for, Venom Let There Be Carnage, the second one, as well. So, yeah, really happy to have him. But so many talented artists, and that's what I really love is getting to meet new people and work with them and collaborate with them and do what we can to feature them.
I think it sounds like, you're a fan of this stuff, and that kind of plays into the formula for a successful show because if you're just looking at it like, let's just do a big money grab, it's, what people want to see because you're the people. Yeah,
and people that start these type of shows, everyone's got different motivations and different end goals. But, I started mine because nothing like this existed. And it's evolved to not only highlighting the local businesses and artists, but then what else can we do to further give back? So every year we do an annual non-perishable drive at the front door, and then we do raffle tickets for a variety of different prizes. But there's a local shelter in town that we collect canned food for, so we've collected over 10,000 pounds of non-perishable food that helps the families in need. So we do that every year at both of our shows. And then about 6 years ago, one of the local artists that I was friends with, and a lot of local Spokanites were friends with, a friend of ours, Jesse Acasa, passed away from cancer. And so my buddy Matt and I, who does the graphic design for me, we wanted to do something to honor him. And so we created a art scholarship fund with the Spokane Falls Community College that has an art program. That's where Jesse also graduated from. And so 25% of all our merchandise sales goes to that scholarship fund, and then it goes to high school seniors that apply for it. And so we've given out, I think, maybe 5 scholarships thus far, pretty much like one a year, that go, and it pays for a quarter of their school. That's
awesome, man. Yeah. That's cool. Give back. And, that's cool, dude. I don't even know what to say about it. That's just a cool thing. Like, you don't hear that.
Well, and it's been really moving too, because how many people have reached out to me since we've started it, whether it's we've had family members of his wife, and even just people that knew him that didn't know that we did this. And then when they come up to our info merch booth and they see that we have a sign talking about what I just told you, and they're just like, oh, I know Jesse. And they're just like, I don't even want to buy anything. I just want to contribute. and that's really touching.
I mean, not to jump off that subject, 'cause that's really cool and awesome. And if you have, do you have like a site or a place where people could donate online to that?
We primarily just do it at the show.
show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless somebody emails me individually or personally,
Yeah.
then I can send them something. But we just pretty much stick to the show because what we get at the show like funds it more than enough. Yeah.
Right. Where can people get details and info on the show?
Yeah. So it's lilaccitycon.com.
Okay, and we'll make sure to link that up. Then later in the year, the Halloween Expo. It's the one I'm excited for, and we're meeting at a horror convention, so obviously you're excited about it because it's the Halloween Expo. You got a ton of crafters and artists and spooky vibe stuff, but you got the horror in there too, which is kind of part of that. And recently you announced that you're going to have Alex Vincent there.
Yeah, we're super excited to have Alex Vincent from the Child's Play and Chucky franchise come up there. He's never been to Eastern Washington before, and so we have a lot of confidence he's going to do well.
Can you mention or tease any of the other guests?
So we do have multiple guests already lined up, already confirmed, and I can give a couple teases. One tease would be if you're in the Spokane area and you come to Lilac City Comic Con June 1st and 2nd, at our info booth, we will have a big Halloween Expo presence, and you'll get to see some of the guests before we announce them online. So you can come see it. If you want to take a picture, that's fine. But you can come see it, weeks in advance before we start blasting them out there. So there's one tease if you're coming to Spokane. Tease number 2, we have people from, like you suggested, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, the Scary Movie franchise. I'm trying to think.
You have an 80s Scream Queen icon.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm really excited
to
see that person again.
Films. Yes. So we've got some really talented people and people that I've been talking to a lot who are very excited to come up to the show.
Yeah, I think it's a good one if you're a hardcore horror fan, or if you're just you like to get spooky around the season. This is a good show for you. And that one is HalloweenExpo.com, October 5th and 6th. What other kind of cool stuff do you got attached to the con that you could talk about?
Yeah, so that show's also growing as well. So we've already expanded the show floor. We added 50 more exhibitors, so we went from 100 to 150. We have, in addition to businesses and artists, doing their thing, we have spooky-themed photo booths that are free. So we have some local businesses that decorate their booth, and they're things that people can step into. We have tarot card reading. We have live makeup demos. We have a DJ and a wide variety of panels and programming.
That's exciting. I'm getting excited. And I guess we could probably say that the Steve and Crypto Show will be represented
That's
there
right.
this year.
You're going to be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, what are we talking about? A tease. It's confirmed.
There you go. It's confirmed.
Locked in.
Now that I've been kind of holding that one in for a while before I start telling people, but now it's out there, so you guys are going to hear me mention the Halloween Expo.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, every episode. You're going to be like, just shut up. I'm going to go, okay?
Fine, I'll
shut
go.
up. Yeah, just leave me alone. Yeah, that's what'll happen. Is there a way to... the best way to keep up on all this, probably just follow the websites or social medias?
Instagram, Facebook. Those are the two we use the most. We post on Instagram pretty regularly.
And anything else you want to add before we let you get ready to catch your flight?
Yeah, I'm just really excited that you're going to be participating and be more coming over to our neck of the woods on the east side, get to see what we do over there.
Yeah.
We quote unquote Spokane style. That's how we do it over there.
I've been digging in social media and stuff, and there's a lot of cool businesses over that way that I was like, wow, you guys got oddity shops and little weird weirdo shit that I thrive on. So hopefully some of them are involved in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like when I started to organize the Halloween Expo before I went public, I went to all those businesses personally and talked with them and be like, I feel the only way this is going to be successful is if you're on board.
Yeah.
And they were all 100% in.
Yeah.
And they have a presence on the show floor. They helped me promote it.
Nice.
And, we all got our connections, and I'm really thankful for them.
Cool. Well, Nathan, we're going to do some stuff leading up to the expo, have some guests and stuff on the show to hype it more. And we are looking forward to hanging out again. We probably won't be physically present until October, but we'll see you then.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
Shit, Steve, call me Alaska Airlines because I'm barely holding myself together.
Too soon with the Alaska Airlines, but I feel you.
You sure? Too soon.
A little bit.
You know what? That's fine. Fortunately, I got hooked up with these tropical THC gummies from Sunday Scaries. They're called couch potatoes.
Yeah, they're legal. Yeah, they're real. Yes, you definitely get high. And no, you shouldn't drive.
Couch potatoes come in 4 different flavors. Tropical flavors, that is. Mango, pineapple, orange, and blue raz. They're so tasty, they'll have your taste buds signing up for jury duty.
Couch potatoes are ideal for boosting your happiness and relaxation by entering a mild euphoric state.
And whether you had a shitty day of work, the kids are finally asleep, or you spent the weekend with the in-laws, just take one gummy and watch your stresses melt away.
You can get 20% off your order with the code SteveCrypto at sundayscaries.com. Afraid? Don't be. There's a 100% money back guarantee on all purchases, so there's no buying risk.
Check out sundayscaries.com and feel good.
We're back. It was cool chatting with Nathan. What do you guys think of us being guests at his horror convention at the Halloween Expo? That's pretty exciting. We're definitely honored. Not sure both of us will be there. We will see. But our show will be represented there. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get nerdy. We're going to get spooky. And we're going to fucking have just a blast. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. He kind of told me some of the guests, which I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you guys. But there's some exciting guests besides Alex Vincent, who is, from the Chucky Child's Play universe. So yeah, so that's what I did at Crypticon. I chatted with a few people. I spent most of my Saturday. So I think we mentioned earlier that I was there the whole weekend.
Yep.
And you made it Sunday with the family.
Yep.
So I did a lot. Like Friday, I did all my most of my purchases. Get stuff signed and autographs and stuff. I need to take some pictures and share them, show people. I shared a little bit, but I got to show more.
Yeah, I got to do that too. I haven't posted anything. I meant to take more like pictures and video while I was there. I was just in the moment trying to keep an eye on everything.
You only had one day to be there, and you still did some networking and connecting with people. But like I was saying, Friday I did my stuff. Saturday I did a bunch of interviews, which you're gonna hear. Oh, I did 4 people. I chatted with 4 guests, not just single people. But one being Nathan OBrien. We're also going to talk a little bit later with the guys from the Hallow Ian Horror Hour, which is a horror host variety show here in our area. But you could watch it on their YouTube channel. They have a ton of great stuff on there. But I also talked with one of the writers of the Gold Key, recently relaunched the Boris Karloff Gold Key Mysteries comic series. And I talked to one of the writers from that. And randomly, I ran into an indie actor named Drew Marvick, which, if you're in an indie horror film, you probably know the guy. But we'll talk a little more about those two next episode, because there was so much happening. Great conversations, everything. It was just too much for one episode. We didn't want to make you guys sit here for 3 hours of Steve and Crypto show. Because that's a lot. I don't even want to sit here and do 3 hours of Steve and Crypto show. Like I love doing this and chatting with Crypto Zoo, but I don't have 3 hours in me.
Yeah.
So I figured let's break it up into 2 episodes. I have a different vibe for each one, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
So Friday I went bought stuff. I met a lot of cool people. Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs. I got them signed on my on a Reanimator poster, which was really cool. It was really cool meeting Jeff Combs because we have a mutual acquaintance. Like I think I've mentioned on the show before, my buddy Steve here in town. He used to work on film back in the days, like camera assistants and stuff, and he worked on a bunch of things like um, RoboCop 2, Ghostbusters 2, Bride of Reanimator, uh, Society. There's a ton of cool things, but he showed me a picture from set. He was working. It was just like a long day, and the photo is of him with Jeffrey Combs and Herbert West character together. And I guess they made a joke about because he was run down, so he was like, "I need a shot of the reanimator juice or something to get me going." But there's a funny picture of it. But uh, I showed that to Jeffrey, and he kind of vaguely remembered the guy and thought that was kind of cool. We kind of broke the ice to be able to chat with him a little bit. But um, a lot of cool people, man. Who were some of the other guests there? Can you think of any off the top of your head besides Zach
Oh yeah.
Galligan, who we talked to?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Zach Galligan was there. The director of Gremlins 1 and 2 and The Howling and many other things, Joe Dante was there. And
Matinee. Did you ever watch Matinee?
no, I have not seen that one.
It's such a great homage to all like those old classic horror and sci-fi movies in the 50s. Like, I'm gonna have to let you borrow it.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies, and
Yeah.
Joe Dante is the man behind that. It is such a cool movie. It has John Goodman playing as basically he's like a William Castle kind of character. Do you know who William Castle is?
God, that name's familiar.
He did like The Tingler with Vincent Price.
Oh,
He
okay.
was one of those guys. He did a lot of like gimmicky movies. Like he created these gimmicks to go along with his movie. Like when he did The Tingler, like he had seats rigged up to like
Yeah, to shock
people and
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's what William Castle does. There's an awesome
That was
documentary about him.
that's
Might
probably
be
the
on
first
Tubi.
40X theater.
Yeah, it might be on Tubi. I could be wrong, but there's a documentary about him that you should check out. It's older, but it's a good one.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, Joe Dante. And I'll mention something about him that was kind of funny when I was there on Sunday. And this leads to a quick shout out. So Saphira Velociraptor was there. You can look her up on Instagram. Boy, that is one huge Velociraptor. And I don't know how she manages to work the keyboard with her long claws and everything to type out messages and thank people for coming to events, but she does. She runs her own page. Isn't that cool?
I think she has an assistant.
Oh, so you're thinking the
She has
trainer,
a
maybe.
she has a PA that handles it for her.
Oh,
Schedules
okay.
her, gets her
Okay.
booked. Kind of like the celebrities at the conventions have their handler that books them and handles
Well,
stuff. Yeah.
luckily he speaks Raptor, so he knows what she wants.
Yeah, it's a good job. It's a good paying job. Like,
Yeah.
if you have to be bilingual, you got to talk Raptor and English. So
So Saphira was walking around
that's
and
stupid.
and
That's
doing
corny.
her thing, taking pictures with people, knocking their hats off, and just having fun. And then she wanders into the celebrity room, and my family, we're just following her, all of us. We go in there and we see her like going up to Zach, and she's going to all these different tables. And then Joe Dante just comes up like behind us where we're standing, and he says, "Are you guys having a good time?" We said, "Yeah." And he was mingling with a bunch of people at that point, just walking around. And so I said to him, I was like, you could take some raptor DNA and mix it with some gremlin DNA and make a pretty good movie. And he leaned in and he quietly said, "Don't tell Roger Corman," and he walked away.
That's funny. Yeah, he seemed like a pretty witty guy. Like, I
Yeah.
went to his panel and watched some of it for a little bit, and he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
he
was really
seemed like a
nice.
nice guy. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly, when I went to meet him initially, I was kind of intimidated
Yeah.
because like this dude's fucking legend. But I went out and just talking. He was just friendly. And then by the end of Sunday, everybody had already met everybody, so everybody was just hanging out, mingling, chit chatting.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
he was up away from his table. Like he was just up and
yeah,
walking
just
around.
wandering around and
Yeah, looking at things.
really
Um,
nice guy.
let's see. Quinn
Who
Lord,
else?
who played Sam from Trick or Treat, was there. Um, the two autographs that we got were from Quinn and from Zach. Um, so
You're gonna
Quinn,
regret not getting Dante.
yeah, I do, but just money was tight, man. Like I took out extra money and I ended up spending all of that too. So, um, but get the Funko Pop signed by Quinn Lord and chatting about Trick or Treat for a minute, and then I just said, I was like, "How old were you when you got that role anyway?" And he said that he was 7. He was the same age as my oldest son, so it's just kind of crazy to think that he was playing that character that young. And then he said that he's 25 now, so he was cool. Like I don't recall seeing his name pop up at a lot of conventions, so I think that was kind of a special one that they had there. Um, and you mentioned Barbara Crampton, uh, Ken Foray was there.
And Foray
Uh,
from Dawn of the Dead.
yeah,
It's always
yeah,
cool.
Joe
He
Grizzly,
um
bitch.
he has a comic book coming out later in the year. He's gonna be launching a funding campaign for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be some a zombie comic because he's known for one of the greatest zombie films of all time
That's
in
right.
Dawn of the Dead. The
Yep,
original Dawn of the Dead.
yep.
The remake was okay. That's the only good thing that he who shall
Your
remain
favorite
unnamed.
director.
He that's probably the best thing he did. But anyways, enough about that.
Yeah, Billy Zane, bunch of different actors were there. Um, but even aside from the celebrities that were there were still a lot of cool people that were hanging out in attendance and that were vendors there. And we want to mention some of those people. So just a quick shout out to some folks that we know listen to the show. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to Wickaburr, Will. Shout out to Kristen, um, Carmen, Derek, aka Shadow Play PDX, Chad Shears, Eli Wolf. I already mentioned Saphira Velociraptor. Of course, Troy, the man in charge of Crypticon Seattle. Uh, Joe Saldezo. I'm sure Steve has some more because you were there
Oh
longer than
yeah,
me.
my buddy Chuck Anderson. He's an author, written some cool books. He hadn't done conventions in a little while, so he was back at Crypticon, which is good to see him. Let's see who else was there. You named a lot of the cool people. Jason Brooks. It's always good to see him at
Yeah.
shows. Uh, you mentioned Joe. I'm gonna bring up Kristen again.
Yes.
She cosplays. She's a really good cosplayer. Makes really great costumes, and she made a Gremlins costume, and she actually like handmade a bunch of Mogwai, and they look fucking phenomenal.
I wish I would have been able to buy one
And
off of her.
and I might have posted a picture of her, but it probably came down already because it was in my story. But I'll throw like a TikTok together with a montage of pictures or something.
I
Um,
saw a picture of her with Joe Dante in her outfit. That was pretty
right.
cool.
And you saw the gremlins. Those things are so cool. Um,
Yeah.
but she entered a cosplay contest for that cosplay and got freaking third. Like, congrats to whoever won, but I think she got robbed. I
Yeah.
don't know who won, but
Nobody else there was dressed up like Phoebe Cates.
and that would have been cool if she was there. But anyways, the fucking the gremlins she made were like awesome. She like hand sculpted and you know cut the fur up and she made they looked amazing. Like I got
Yeah.
to hold one and she had this little tray that she used to carry them around and they're like magnetic so they like stuck to the tray and wouldn't fall off.
That's cool.
But yeah, dude, they were so good. And honestly, if we had a Steven Crypto cosplay contest, she would have won.
Yeah.
I should make
For
a
sure.
certificate and send it to her. Like, here's a winner of the Steven Crypto cosplay contest. And yeah, but yeah. But yeah, no, she's good people. I hung out with her a little
Yeah.
bit, and she's super talented, and it's always cool to run into her. And hopefully see her at another show. Yeah, you mentioned the good vendors and a lot of the
Yep.
usual suspects and a lot of new stuff. And
Oh yeah, lots of new vendors too. Like a lot of new tables that looked like we've never seen them before. And while we're giving out some shout outs, I want to rewind just a little bit. Let's rewind to the weekend before Crypticon, where we were at the OCE, the Olympic Collectible Expo in Silverdale, Washington, at the mall, Kitsap Mall.
Yep.
I was there as a vendor. Steve was hanging out with us. Our friend Jarrett was there as a vendor as well. I was trying to. Well, Melanie Cohn was there as a celebrity guest, who was the voice of Lucy, who has been on our show before. But I was there trying to raise some money for the new house that I have to move into, for the new baby boy that's coming up next month. Got a lot of things going on, and so I was happy to unload a lot of things. I did pretty well, fortunately. So I just wanted to say thank you to a few people that came out, that attended. A few of them from Port Townsend, some from Port Angeles. John Kane, Jason, Martin, John Promer, Andrew Rubio. Thank you guys all for showing up and coming by and buying some toys, and hope to see you there next year.
They're probably not listening though.
Well, one or two of them might.
Yeah, so might. Jesus Christ. But anyways. But yeah, that's cool. It was good to see them. I actually seen a couple people at Crypticon that came by our table at OCE and hyped it up a little bit, and they showed up at Crypticon.
That's awesome. Yeah,
and they said they've been listening to us, so
good.
That's cool.
Good.
That's
I hyped
point.
up Crypticon to a lot of people that came by, especially anybody that like had a horror T-shirt on, or if they kind of if they had some like style to them that looked like they might be into some spooky shit. I was like, hey, have you ever heard of Crypticon before? And just start getting into what it's all about.
It's crazy how many people don't know about stuff.
Yeah.
Like us. More people should know about us. But anyway.
Well, if you're listening, then you do know about us, and you can do us a great favor by telling your friends, because I guarantee you have at least one friend that's a horror fanatic like us. And hopefully they listen to podcasts too. And if not, they should.
Yeah, they definitely should.
Put it on while you're doing the dishes or while you're mowing the lawn or something. There's plenty of time for it. You just got to think about it.
What do you say we introduce them to another creator from Crypticon Seattle?
Let's do it.
I talked with guys, Ian and Sam from the Hallow Ian Horror Hour. Sometimes I talk and it blurs into one word. The Hallow Ian, which is like a play on Halloween, Horror Hour. It's like a horror host show crossed with a variety show. They show a lot of like short films and do a lot of little skits and stuff. And it's a fun show. They do a really good job of it. And they're kind of keeping the horror host history alive here in the Northwest, which is actually cool. They're actually working in the same studio that Professor Fred used to use, who is kind of a local horror host legend. He was cool. He used to teach a class at one of the local colleges about schlock cinema. And then he also was a horror host and did radio stuff. But yeah, these guys, the Hallow Ian Horror Hour, they're like working in that studio, which we talk about in this conversation with those guys. So let's just jump right into that. Hey, what is happening? We are at Crypticon 2024 and hanging out with a couple dudes from the Hallow Ian Horror Show, which you guys should be following. If you're a Steven Crypto follower, we know you love horror host stuff, and these guys do I I call it like a horror host variety show hybrid kind of thing where they do skits and show short films and all kinds of cool stuff. So let's just jump right in and have these guys introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Hallow Ian, or EE Talent, the producer of the Hallow Ian Horror Hour.
And I'm Sam Myers, or Sam Arias Mostovoy, one of the co-producers and co-hosts of the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Of course. How did this whole thing get started?
Yeah, so the Hallow Ian Horror Hour became Seattle Cable TV's variety show through what I just like to call a series of opportunities meeting preparation and leading to success. So Sam and I started directing and producing our own short horror films in 2021 after a few years of doing gaming content, mostly related to like Magic the Gathering stuff.
Or D&D as well, some tabletop RPGs that we played online in the midst of the COVID pandemic when we were only on voice channels, right?
Yeah. And we got really heavily involved in doing like the production on the back end of those audio shows where we were adding music and sound effects, and we were really working on our scripts. And eventually we got to the point where we decided we wanted to full on write a script and tell a story rather than just improvising with our friends every week. Not that wasn't an absolute blast too.
Yeah. And especially, once we came up with that script and had it ready to go, then the next step was, I guess we're putting this into production, and just learning the back end or on set, if you will, quirks of making a movie together and putting things together so that we can put it out on screen was eye-opening, and we both realized we really loved the craft and really loved working together on creating media like that.
Yeah. And from there, my day job, I help produce a local talk show for Me TV, which is the home of our friend Sven Gooley over in Berwyn, another horror host. And the TV station asked if they could show our horror films, the local version of the TV station, which is SCC TV, channel 28 if you're in Seattle, and that's on cable, broadband channel 19. And I said, that's a great idea, but I also know that there's an amazing community of filmmakers in the Pacific Northwest that are specifically doing horror short films. And so I reached out to a bunch of them, and the name Hallow Ian came to me, which is a play on Halloween and my name. And so we rolled with that, and it just kind of evolved into what it is now as we worked with different actors. We saw the skills that they had. We saw what we might be able to do with the studio space that we had, and we just got a series of submissions of music videos and short films, and we're able to fill in the holes with some scary stories, some histories of Halloween.
Some vignettes that we paint ourselves up for to host the show and everything.
Yeah, and we had an absolute blast and had a fairly successful season 1, and it was just really like right place, right time, right preparation.
And the right people, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of really wonderful people have worked with us on this project. Folks from On the Fence Productions, Rewired Geek. We have
DH Land and Digital Media.
Yep, as well as those audio folks. And these are all people who are giving their time to us because they know that this is a passion project for us, or at least has been so far, and could evolve into something else.
Yeah, I do want to make sure we mention Real Fiction Studios,
Real
which
Fiction,
is an
yes.
awesome makeup team, especially Michelle of the Dead, who has kind of come up with the concept and designed Hallow Ian and Sam and Scary Ghost, and really helped us with that end of the production.
Yeah.
I also want to note that on the public channel that you guys run on, you're kind of carrying the tradition of Professor Fred. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his show back in the day.
Yep, very much.
Have you had any interaction with him and his crew?
So actually the producers, Rich and Dean, still work in the studio. They were the ones who originally approached me about doing this kind of after Professor Fred himself was no longer able to carry on the role. And they go speak with him on a regular basis. We're hoping that, if his health is well enough, he might even be able to make a cameo in season 2.
Yeah,
it would be
cool.
It would be really great.
Igor, Professor Fred's sidekick, who is played by Dean Cuccia, is still the guy who lets us into the studio, shows us around where stuff is. I work with him pretty closely at my day job, and we're definitely planning on incorporating him into season 2. So all of the props, like a lot of like the rocks and benches and gravestones and brick walls, and there's even a fireplace, all of that stuff that was on Professor Fred's studio, all of the DVDs of like the brain that wouldn't die and the attack from Mars and all of that kind of stuff is still in that studio, and we're there in that spirit, and really appreciative of the opportunity that we get to use that space.
And appreciative of SCC TV. I mean, these folks are people who understand what it means to create something kind of from nothing and still be a part of a very niche community and serve that community with content. So they're very much on board. They've been hyper supportive of us since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And Professor Fred in the Dungeon still airs after the Hallow Ian Horror Hour. During that fall programming block, you can see us on Friday nights at 8 o'clock, and it goes right into In the Dungeon with Professor Fred. So if you still want to get your vibe on with that history of movie schlock and cinema schlock, Professor Fred is still there in syndication for you to see.
Yeah, he's a big part of the Northwest horror host history, so you guys are kind of keeping it alive, and I appreciate that as a horror host fan.
It's great to hear, yeah.
That's but not everybody listening is from Seattle.
No.
So they won't all get the channel, so where else?
That's true.
We're absolutely available on the online places. You can catch us on socials, Instagram and Facebook, at Tapped House, which is our media production company.
And then you can find season 1 right now. It's already uploaded. We upload each and every episode, I believe the day after we actually release it on that Friday night. And right now at the Hallow Ian Horror Hour YouTube channel, just type in Hallow Ian Horror Hour, and you can find season 1 as well as some of our smaller vignettes that we've put in there, and some of our marketing material just showing what's coming up for season 2.
Yeah, and you can find links to all of those and to some of our other short films and partnerships that we have going on at tappedhousetv.com. That's TAPPEDHOUSE TV.com. Yep.
Now, you guys are doing a live show here at Crypticon. Are you filming it?
We are.
Okay.
The live show will be available later this month on our YouTube channel. We are going to be showing a number of shorts. One of them you're only going to be able to see at the live show because it is going to be a part of season 2. So we're going to show that tonight, but it will not be available on the YouTube. But you will be able to catch that short in season 2 this fall.
Sorry, listeners, you're going to have to wait.
It should be worth the wait. Is there anything you guys want to add, maybe in character, to kind of throw a little promo in there?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely should do something in character here, but I will just add one more thing as the producer EE talent, that this has really just been an amazing community-driven experience. We've had a great success with fundraising and with submissions. The first season we had 12 short films and like 6 music videos. In season 2 we already have 40 short films that are at the level of quality that we want to share. We're going to be doing bonus episodes, including a Christmas special and a summer horror romance episode that'll be coming out this July that'll feature the premiere of a short film that we got to work on, featuring Scary Ghost and DZ, the zombie chiropractor from the show as well.
Sadly, they're not painted in their Halloween graveyard gang getup.
Oh, it's amazing. They're actors. They can play multiple roles.
Whoa. Whoa.
Unlike us, who are just ourselves turned up to 11. And so we just really appreciate the Pacific Northwest filmmaking community and the filmmaking community beyond that has just really shown up and gotten involved in this project. And we're so excited because we have so many shorts to show you.
Very scary.
Subscribe now if you dare. Don't miss a scare. This is Hallow Ian.
And Sam Myers.
And you're listening to the Steven Crypto Show. We're from the Hallow Ian Horror Hour
on Scary TV.
Now, is it hard to switch in and out of character when you're not in costume?
No, not really.
No,
Yeah, let's be real. These characters are basically extensions of ourselves in
Yeah.
some capacity. We're just hamming it up a little bit more.
that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah.
We just keep it real. It's who we are.
I mean, like Sam and I we're writers and producers, and we excel in the back end of things, and it's fun to act as these characters. But I don't think we had planned on being actors.
This is not the plan for sure.
No, and it just it kind of came about that way because we are the ones that are going to be available on every ask on this, right? So
Yeah.
I can show up and be Hallow Ian, and I don't have to ask that of somebody else. But
Especially when we're asking for a lot of people's time that they're volunteering right now, and hopefully in the future that gets to change, right? But as of now, you ask people to volunteer, it's a passion project, and so they're showing up, they're putting in their time. We're not going to go ahead and hold them to each and every and all episodes that we're shooting, and we're the ones who have to be there. So sometimes there are vignettes where it's just Sam and Hallow,
that being said, at the end of season 1, Hallow Ian was exorcised and cast out of the graveyard. So there are going to be story arcs for many of the characters and how Hallow Ian gets back to the graveyard in season 2. But we'll get to see more character development for Scary Ghost and Magic Mirror and DZ and Giovanna, who is
Producer.
was our exorcist and now is a TV producer.
TV producer on the show as a character.
Yeah, and Van Vidal will be making his glorious return, who's our news anchor. And we've got some more surprises that'll be coming up. I don't want to spoil any of those, but
I know.
we have some new members of the Graveyard Gang that'll be joining us, and it's
And some
so
members
exciting.
who might even change shape or form at some point.
Yeah.
You never know.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So,
All right. Well, before we wrap up, plug the channel one more time.
Yeah. This is Hallow Ian,
and this is Sam Myers.
and we're from the Hallow Ian Horror Hour on Scary TV.
Please find us at Hallow Ian Horror Hour on YouTube or at one of our social media channels for Tapped House.
And you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
Hey, everybody, this is Danny Roebuck. Come on, my face is familiar. I'm sure my voice is familiar too. You are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show, and that means that you have good taste, almost as good a taste as I have.
Crypticon Seattle was a hell of a weekend, and we got a lot more to talk about. We're going to go on next week when we share a couple more chats from my hotel room, which I set up like a little podcast studio in my hotel room and had people up. And so next episode 145, we'll have a couple more guests. But thanks to Hallow Ian Horror Hour, those guys were cool. Got to spend a little time chatting with them throughout the weekend, and they did a really cool live show, like a live version of their show, where they got on stage and costume and stuff, and
Cool.
showed a couple films. It was kind of funny though, because Ian, like a couple days before Crypticon, like fractured his ankle or something like that,
Oh no.
skateboarding. So he was like kind of gimping around on crutches with a big boot on his leg. It was
Oh,
kind
that
of funny seeing him in his spooky costume with a big broken foot boot on. But he
well, at least
plowed
he's still
through it.
dressed up.
Plowed through it and did it. Yeah. Like I mentioned, next episode we'll talk more about Crypticon Seattle. Tell you some silly stuff about staying up too damn late, thinking I'm a cool kid watching midnight movies, and we didn't mention, we're talking about celebrities. We didn't mention the Addams family who did the
That's right. We'll
Hellbender movie and stuff.
we'll talk
a little
about them.
I did mention a couple more interviews. At the end of this episode, stick around, because we do have, it's not our event, but personally I'm excited about it. It's we're going to a concert. We're going to see a band called the Messer Chups. They're a Russian surf rock band, and they're opening for a legendary SoCal, surf skate punk band called Agent Orange. But I'm really hyped to see the Messer Chups. And their record label, High Tide Recordings, was generous enough to send us the title track off their new album, which is just released, I think, this week. It's called Darkside of Paradise. So make sure you stick around at the end of the episode. Don't go away after we say bye, because we're going to play a fucking cool song for you from the Messer Chups. And we have, before we wrap, we got one more message to share with you from our friends down in LA.
Hi, it's Brink Stevens. I hope you'll join me on Saturday, May 18th for Shaka Go-Go at the Lumiere Cinema in Beverly Hills. At 5:30, there'll be a screening of Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bolorama. My co-star Michelle Bauer and I will be there to do a Q&A and to sign autographs. Hope to see you there.
Oh, hey there, all you Steve and Crypto listeners in the LA area. This is Anastasia Elfman.
And Richard Elfman here.
And we're thrilled to be at the Shaka Go-Go Fest at the Lumiere Theater in Beverly Hills Saturday, May 18th for the sold-out LA premiere of our new wacky horror comedy, Bloody Bridget, featuring new original score by Danny Elfman and Ego Plum. Live pre-show performances featuring Ego Plum's Mambo Diabolico band and insane bloody burlesque by me. Q&A hosted by Trevor Shand of Bloody Disgusting, the Boo Crew podcast, plus meet and greet. Don't worry if you didn't catch one of our hot tickets. There's plenty of other fun screenings all happening at Shaka Go-Go Fest. Kill you later.
That event sounds really cool, called the Shaka Go-Go Festival. Go to shockagogo.com to get tickets. It takes place May 17th and 18th. There's a ton of movies showing, a lot of cool guests. As you just heard, Brink Stevens is going to be there. Lynn Lowry is going to be there. Barbara Crampton's going to be there. She was just at Crypticon Seattle with us. Our friends Richard and Anastasia Elfman are going to be there, and they're going to be showing Bloody Bridget, which they screened for us. Even though their movie is sold out, still show up. They'll probably be hanging out. Make sure to meet them. Tell them you're friends of ours. So if you are down in Los Angeles area, go to the Shaka Go-Go Festival. I wish I could be there. Like, I would probably try to go if it wasn't so close to Crypticon Seattle, but Crypticon Seattle didn't leave me no money to go to LA. So yeah. So before we wrap up, what other kind of interesting stuff do we want to tell our friends?
Well, we're getting really close to episode 150. So we were thinking if any of you listening have any ideas or maybe potential guests that we should try to get on for episode 150, we're all ears. So
make it special.
Yeah, send us a message, CryptoZoo88 with Steve Strout, and let us know what you think. Let us know if you got a cool idea or maybe like a segment that we could do or whatever you're thinking, whatever's on your mind. We just want to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have an idea, maybe you have a cool segment that you want to come on the show and do, pitch it to us.
Yep.
You know, you have a favorite movie, you want to come on and tell us about your favorite movie. That'd be kind of cool. We should do stuff like that. Actually, I just thought of that. Like, maybe have listeners come on every once in a while and do like their own like little mini review of one of their favorite movies or something. I think that would be kind of cool. Be a fun way to interact.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat. Maybe we could even like do a contest out of it and draw from a hat, you know, the names of people that want to do it or something, and then we could pick one.
Yeah, something. We'll brainstorm on that. Like you said, if you have any cool ideas of what we could potentially do for our 150th episode, let us know. You mentioned CryptoZoo88. I'm the Steve Strout. That's on X and Instagram. And if you know us personally on like Facebook, our messenger is always open. What else? Go to our Patreon.
That's right.
Patreon.com/Steve Crypto. Contribute as little as $1 a month to keep this show going. And lots of what we think is cool content on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of content waiting for you there. Buymeacoffee.com/Steve Crypto. Go check it out. Shout out to our friends at Galactic Druid Treats. Go check out some of their freeze dried candies and things that they offer.
They actually, not to interrupt you, they actually just relaunched the business. They kind of stopped for a short time to revamp their kitchen and stuff and expand, and they just are getting back to business. So definitely follow them, and they're gonna have a lot more cool shit.
Yep. And Sunday Scaries. Go to Sunday Scaries and try some of their gummies that they have. And if you're looking to relax a little bit, that's a good way to do it. If you're like my back was hurting last weekend real bad, and I had 2 of those, and I think it helped a little bit. So yeah. They're mellow. They're
I've even taken them, and I don't usually partake.
Yeah.
And they, help me sleep.
Yep.
So all those cool ways to support us, cool ways to support our friends. Crypticon Seattle was a fucking blast, and we're going to talk more about it on the next episode. All that being said, we thank you guys, and we appreciate you guys. And we're almost up to 150. That's crazy.
That's right. And God, I hope we're still alive on episode 145. Peace.